morning and welcome everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Quarantine Leadership Series, the Q Series, where we hope to encourage, engage, and motivate you to be the best leader you can possibly be. I'm joined today by YMCA friends and peers, North Carolina CEO peers, Jen Fuller Allen from the Lexington YMCA, Kathy Davis from the Wilson YMCA, Rhonda Anderson from Greensboro, and Sharon Pageant, who's mobile and just went out, and she's from Gastonia. And so give us a quick snapshot of your career. Jen, we'll start with you. You're in my left corner, but give us a quick snapshot of your career and journey till today.
Sure. So I started at this Y 21 years ago. I was teaching group exercise classes part-time while I was teaching elementary school. And over time and life changes, I added a few more responsibilities within the Y and then became full-time here about 10 years ago. And it has been wonderful. The Y has been a wonderful place for me, for my children and my family, and I'm honored to be here every day.
That's good. And tell us how long you've been in your position.
I've been in this position for a year now.
Right. Happy anniversary, which was, you said June 1st, so happy anniversary.
Yep, thank you.
We're doing this on the 3rd. Kathy.
Hi, thanks, Cam. I've been at the Wilson YMCA for 18 years now. I came from a church background. I was a church business administrator and just felt called to come to the YMCA. It was a new Y. We're only 20 years old, and I'm the 3rd CEO. So the first 2 didn't work out too well, but now they couldn't beat me off with a stick.
Yeah, that's great. And Rhonda.
Good morning. My career is a little slightly different. I actually started in a corporate career out of graduate school, worked for some major Fortune 500 companies for probably about, I'd say 15 years or so, then transitioned into the nonprofit arena, working for a large church as its chief operating officer. And then coming on 10 years now. In 2012, I was blessed enough to get a position as CEO of YMCA New Jersey. After 5 years there, had the opportunity to transition to the Charlotte Y as a COO. And after 2.5 years there, was blessed again with getting the position in Greensboro 2.5 years ago, January of 20, right before COVID, as a CEO. So it has really been quite a journey for me. I feel blessed to have had the opportunity to see both the for-profit and nonprofit arenas, and really love the work that we're doing with the Y.
Sharon, give us your background.
Hey, good morning, everybody. So I started my career at Wingate College as an admissions counselor, but I started part-time in the Y in 1987. And it was there that I had that aha, life-changing moment that this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And so I really never left the Y after that. I started full time in 1993 at the Findlay Y, and then went to Camp Seafair as a director there for 5 years. After 5 years at camp, I came back to the Raleigh Y for 2 years as an associate exec, and then left there to go to Columbia, South Carolina, and was there for, I think, 7 or 8 years. I'm losing track. But then it's all about relationships. And so Tony Sigmund and I met back at camp in 1988. And Tony was the CEO here in Gaston County. And he said, hey, I'd love for you to come and be and work with me, be the COO. And so I came to Gaston County in 2009. And the rest is history. I'm still here, loving every second of it. And I'm the CEO at the Gaston County Family YMCA.
That's great. As I'm sitting here looking at the pictures, I'm wearing Core Health and Fitness. So this podcast is sponsored by Core Health and Fitness. So maybe I'll get another shirt out of this or something, Sharon and I have known each other a long time, since college, actually, even though she looks much younger than I am. So our careers have been together. Sharon, who have been, and I know you've had some great ones, who have been some of your mentors and advocates in your career?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I would say number one, as far as female leadership, female mentors, definitely Lynn Moss, Judy Bright, And those are camp directors at Camp Seafair. And gosh, there's just been so many, but those two are the ones that have really been, they've just been superheroes for me. And then of course, Tim Joyce, Doug McMillan, just have encouraged and supported and lifted me my whole career.
Yeah. So quick aside, you feel your job's a calling? Do you feel, you talked about that early success, so that do you feel your job is a calling to the movement?
Oh, absolutely. It's a calling. It is absolutely a calling. And like I said a second ago, the aha moment for me was sitting on a golf cart at Camp Seafair in the middle of the summer. And it was like, this is how life is impacted. This is how you make an impact on people's lives. And this is what I want to do and so I changed the whole trajectory of my college degree and everything, just to be able to go down this avenue. And I've never looked back.
So a quick lesson for everybody listening or learning. I interviewed a lot of people and I asked that calling question, when did you know it was a calling? And 100% of the people early in their career, they had success and they felt the calling. And so I think it's a challenge for us when we have new and young and talented staff. So we've got to find ways for them to have that success so they can feel that. And so just to help them as a career, not just to be jumping in and out. So I'm glad I wanted to follow that line with you there. Kathy, you've been in Wilson for 18 years. What are the benefits, and which is different today? So many people change jobs and move. What are the benefits of being in Wilson for 18 years?
I think it's the relationships, Cam. I've lived in Wilson, actually in August, it will be 50 years. We are definitely marathoners. We moved to Wilson and we plan to live 1 year. So that's turned into 50. When I came to work at the YMCA, I promised them 5 years and now I'm at 18. So, I just like to kind of stay in the same place, obviously. But I do think it's the relationships. It's the relationships that I've been able to connect with community, with staff, with members. And it really does make a difference. And certainly it has been a real benefit for us in planning for our future.
Sure, yeah. So you've got, share with the group, but everybody listening, just what's recently going on, the great stuff that's going on at your YMCA now.
We have been so fortunate to have a relationship with our new healthcare foundation that was formed when our hospital was sold to a for-profit hospital. So that money is supposed to be filtered back into the community through a foundation. The foundation decided that one of the ways that they could really have a huge impact in our community is to do a middle school after school program. And they decided that the Y was the best partner for that. And so to have a place to house this middle school after school, in August, we will be moving into a brand new 70,000 square foot facility that will house not only the middle school after school, but also a full service YMCA, complete with 2 swimming pools, gymnasium, and all the other bells and whistles. So I could not be more grateful to Healthcare Foundation, and also grateful to the people in Wilson who were such visionaries, realizing that our community needed a YMCA.
Yeah, that's trust. That's a lot of credit to you, the trust you created in your organizations created in the community. So congratulations on that. That's big news. What's the total price? What's the price tag on that building?
$25 million.
Woo! Way to go. Way to go.
We'll move in debt free.
Yeah, that's incredible. Jen, we're at the 1 year anniversary for you. So looking back on this first year, where do you see your biggest opportunities for growth and learning are?
I think every day is an opportunity for learning and growth. One of the things I love the most about the Y is that you never know what's going to happen when you get here. And the flip side of that is every day that you show up, it matters. You're going to make a difference for somebody in some way. And that's what I love about it. But I think within the first year, I have learned that I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. And that's okay, because I don't know that anybody else does either. We're all just kind of figuring it out. I grew up in the Y. I've been here since I was a baby. I learned to swim in the pool. And so the things that we did then, we don't do anymore. And it has given us a great opportunity to reinvent ourselves, to make us more of a community partner, and just to do some things differently so that hopefully people are talking about the Y in a positive way. So it's been really positive, but I feel confident that I will be learning and growing forever, and hopefully improving as time goes by.
Yeah, great. Looking at great things that your Y's doing. Rhonda, you've had such a great career, for-profit, church, YMCA, big YMCA in Charlotte. What advice would you give to women who aspire to be a CEO, or maybe people like Jen who are new into the role?
Yeah, so I would certainly have to give a lot of credit to the favor of God in my life, as well as hard work. And the advice that I would give is to have a willing spirit to learn and to be curious about things, and to not be afraid to, reach out and have conversation with folks. Because sometimes I think people may feel that, oh, I'm bothering them and I don't want to, bother them. But I'm always happy to speak with some of our younger staff members, particularly in trying to help them understand the value of a right career, because I've seen it from both sides, really, because I didn't start out in the Y like these ladies did. And so I can see the value of it as a career, if this is where your passion is, particularly when it comes to the retirement plan. I mean, they're not, that's a big plus that we have as an organization. I think we don't leverage that enough, but I would certainly tell them to be curious, to just seek counsel, not be afraid to move if you have to. I know there's sometimes opportunity to stay in one Y for your career, but there may be other options in other locations that will allow you the growth that you need, and you might be able to come back, to the Y. So hopefully having that flexibility to move, because there's so many options around the country that would help them as well in their career.
Just in North Carolina, we got together as a state, and most of the CEOs were there in the room. And when you look around, 80% of the CEOs in the room are of the age of 50. So I mean, in the next, or 55. So in the next decade, that room's going to flip. And
That's right.
So I think there's a lot of opportunities to move up and out and up, do some of those things. So be real. Let's have a real discussion in here. What are some of the challenges that y'all face as women, as a leader in your organization, that maybe I don't face as a white male CEO?
So I will say this week, I got a phone call from someone who wanted to talk to the person in charge. And I said, that's me. How can I help you? And he said, no, I want to talk to the person in charge of everything. Still me. How can I help you? But you're a girl. So I am. And I can tell this is going to be a fantastic conversation. So how can I help you? And I hear that regularly. Like I think people just assume like whoever's in charge is going to be a man, and there's no way that I could possibly figure it out, which at this point makes me laugh. It used to hurt my feelings, and now I'm like, I mean, this is what you get. We'll just figure it out.
Wow.
Go ahead,
I think, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sharon. You go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that every day is okay. What happens is when you're in group meetings and folks start wanting to talk about finance or talk about capital or talk about things that are more challenging, they look to the men in the room versus the ladies and the women in the room. And that's where I've probably seen the biggest challenge for me.
They don't look to you for your opinion in those areas?
Nope.
Interesting.
Yep.
What about you, Rhonda?
I think some of it is some of the socialization pieces where, the guys will say, hey, let's go out and play around the golf. They make the assumption that first of all, women may not actually play golf, or maybe there's a more comfort level. And so you get sometimes left out, because I'm sure there, and I could be wrong, but I'm sure there have been golf games that have happened in the state of North Carolina with some of the male CEOs. And I don't want to accuse anyone of anything. So, but I'm just saying, I think that some of those opportunities where women can sometimes be left out, I think that's a part of it too.
No, I agree. I mean, and I think you and I had a discussion on an earlier quarantine series about me balancing protecting myself and the organization versus being fair to everybody, because it's easy for me to invite one of the guys, hey, let's go grab a sandwich at lunch and sit together. Is it the same when I invite a female to do that? Which the advice I've gotten from most females is treat us the same, be respectful the same. And so it is about, if you can play golf with the guys, you can play golf with me. If you can go get coffee with the guys, you can get coffee with me. And so I think just being respectful to everybody. But that's a topic today. I mean, it's a challenge. What about you, Kathy? Any thoughts on that? I mean, you've been there so long, you've built so much trust in your organization. Do you feel it?
I do still, but early on, I decided that I was just going to try to make a place for myself at the table, even if I had to bring my own chair.
Yeah. How do you balance, let's just be real, of being aggressive like that, making your point, and not being labeled bitchy? I'm just, you know.
You smile a lot.
And then you say, bless their heart.
Uh-huh.
Because when you do challenge, you know, especially a boss, you know, another, you know, of, hey, you're not inviting me to golf. Hey, you're not taking me, or whatever the issue may be, you know, you may get labeled a troublemaker, you know, so.
And I think too, Cam, that's where we have to not fear that, and to show up strong, and certainly always be respectful of folks, but not fear so much what people will think, because people are going to think what they're going to think. So it's part of it is us overcoming, trying to temper what we say, because we feel that others may think we're itchy, you know,
Yeah.
so.
Well, I know from my chair, what I've needed in my career, and what I've gotten most of the time is, I don't mind being challenged, even if it makes me uncomfortable. But at some point, at the end of that meeting, or at the end, it's got to be, hey, Cam, I still love you. I still respect you. You're still my boss. Yeah, I appreciate you listening to me. And even though maybe we differ on this topic, but I still respect who you are. I mean, and so there's still that trust level between us. So I don't keep it an arm's length just because I'm being challenged into the negative. How can we be better advocates? You as CEOs, how can we be better advocates for the women on our teams?
I think it was mentioned earlier in terms of when you're in those group settings and you may have, say, a dominant personality in the room, you want to make sure that you are bringing everyone into the conversation. And so that I think that's where we can use our voice and our seat to ensure that everyone in that room, including the women, including people of color, have a voice. And when people see that coming from the leadership and the top, typically they will fall in line, or they will find other places to go.
Great comment.
I agree, Rhonda. I think it's so important for us to make sure that everyone feels seen, heard, and valued. And that's how, of course, you develop connectedness and relationships. But I think people just really want to feel like that their opinions matter and that you're really hearing them, whether it be staff, members, the community, whomever. I just think it's so important for us as leaders to take the time to really listen and to hear what's being said.
Sharon or Jen, y'all have anything to follow up?
I would agree with that. And I also think it's really important that as a Y, we are flexible. The Y is open 7 days a week our Y is open from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. So understanding that some women have children, some men have children, people have parents and siblings and other responsibilities. And so if you need to work your 40 hours and it's not from 8 to 5, that's okay. We have a large staff that is using some flexibility because there's lots and lots of kids around here. And the people that we have in those seats are fantastic and they are figuring it out and they will work on Saturday and Sunday. But understanding that that's also a full-time job that these women and sometimes men are bringing with them, and being willing to work with that and not seeing it as kind of in the banking world where you have to be here from 8 to 5. So we need to serve people all the time, 7 days a week. So if you want to work Saturdays and Sundays because you need Mondays and Tuesdays with your kids, we will make that happen for you.
Yeah. And then this employment challenge, that's a perk of our business. I mean, I think that's one of the things that we need to share and show. That's the people that have left and gone to other careers from my perspective that have called me and said, what I miss most about the Y is that, I miss, being able to set my schedule pretty much and do the things I need to do. So the other challenge is a movement. And now that we've got a national female CEO, I think is a great example. But over the last decade, or even longer, the women have out percentage the men in college 60-40, and that's getting further every year. More women are going to college than men. And so not that the college degree is the end all be all for a job and a career, but if you're just looking at that data, there are going to be more women in leadership positions going forward as the older people retire out. So next generation. So I think it behooves us to develop and cultivate and lead our young female staff to prepare them to step into these positions. Agree?
Agree.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it was always saying yes. And I know that that's a little counter, it's tough because you want to have balance in your life, but the opportunities that came to me along my path, the answer was yes. And I was able to learn and grow in different areas of the Y. And the leaders and the supervisors for which I worked with gave me those opportunities, which by the time I became a CEO, I think I have done everything in the Y. And so offering people the challenges, offering the women the challenges as well to do hard things is something that we need to encourage as well.
Yeah. Saying yes is great advice. Raising your hand too, going, hey, I'll take that on. I think it's
Yep.
another opportunity. That's for everybody out there. Y'all are great, such great role models and leaders in our state and our Y movement too. I appreciate you. If you're watching this, I challenge you over the next couple of weeks is identify the women on your staff that have great promise and potential, and don't wait for them to come to us, but as a leader in the organization, sit down with them and say, hey, you've got great potential, and how can I help you get to where you need to go? And let me be an advocate for you and your career. Let's all take that on. Make sure you share this, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and always lead with love. Thank y'all for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cam.